Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche, a major philosophical work first published in 1886. Beyond Good and Evil, author Friedrich Nietzsche, published 1886. Genre, philosophical existentialism and ethics. Structure, classified into 9 parts with preface and afterword. Overview, Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil expands on ideas from Thus Spoke Zarathustra. It criticizes traditional morality, religion, and philosophy, especially the blind faith in truth and reason, and proposes a new philosophy of power, creativity, and life affirmation. Nietzsche argues that moral values like good and evil are human inventions shaped by history and power, not by any divine truth. Preface. Nietzsche opens by attacking dogmatism, the belief that truth can be known absolutely. He criticizes past philosophers for pretending to be seekers of truth, when in fact they impose their personal moral prejudices as universal truths. He asks, what if truth is just a woman? And philosophers with their clumsy seriousness have never managed to win her love. This metaphor shows Nietzsche's irony. Truth is not a rigid system, but something elusive and interpretive. The preface sets the tone. Philosophy must go beyond good and evil, beyond traditional moral categories. Part 1. On the prejudices of philosophers. Nietzsche claims that philosophers have hidden motives. Their reasoning often reflects their instincts and desires, not pure logic. They invent metaphysical systems to justify their moral values. He criticizes concepts like the soul, free will, and absolute truth, calling them relics of outdated thinking. Argues that will to power, the instinct to grow, dominate, and assert, is the fundamental drive in all beings. Truth and morality are not objective. They are expressions of power. Part 2. The Free Spirit. Nietzsche praises the free spirits, thinkers who question all beliefs and moralities. These individuals are rare, courageous, and often misunderstood. True philosophers are experimenters, not dogmatists. He warns that freedom comes with loneliness. The free spirit must break away from the herd morality. The free spirit is an intellectual explorer, creating new values beyond traditional good and evil. Part 3. The religious nature. Nietzsche analyzes the psychology of religion. He sees religion as a form of human weakness, born from fear, suffering, and guilt. Christianity in particular is called a slave morality. It glorifies humility, obedience, and pity, values that keep people weak. He contrasts this with the master morality of strong, creative individuals who define their own values. Religion's purpose, he says, is to control and domesticate strong instincts. He predicts that in the modern age, faith will collapse and people will need a new moral foundation. Part 4. Maxims and Interludes. A collection of short aphorisms, brief, witty insights. Topics range from love and art to knowledge and pride. Nietzsche shows his playful style, mixing irony, paradox, and brilliance. Example idea. He who fights with monsters should be careful, lest he thereby become a monster. These aphorisms offer a break from the dense argumentation. They show Nietzsche's moral flexibility and deep psychological observation. Part 5. On the natural history of morals. Nietzsche questions how moral systems develop. Morality, he says, is not divine revelation, but a product of evolution and social control. There are 2 basic moral types. 1. Master morality, values strength, pride, and independence. 2. Slave morality, values meekness, humility, and obedience. Christianity, democracy, and socialism all descend from slave morality. He warns that modern society glorifies weakness and equality, stifling creativity and greatness. Part 6. We Scholars. Nietzsche criticizes the academic philosophers and scientists of his time. They claim objectivity but are often slaves to herd thinking. Scholars value knowledge as an end in itself, but Nietzsche argues knowledge should serve life, not dominate it. The true philosopher uses intellect creatively to reinterpret life, not to escape it. He distinguishes between thinkers who serve life and thinkers who serve truth at life's expense. Part 7. Our Virtues. Nietzsche reflects on modern virtues, modesty, sympathy, and equality, and calls them signs of decline. Modern people think they are moral, but their virtues are rooted in fear, not strength. He calls for a new kind of virtue, creative self-overcoming, courage to shape one's own destiny. The Übermensch or Overman is implied, one who creates new values from strength and joy, not guilt or obedience. Part 8. Peoples and Fatherlands. Nietzsche criticizes nationalism, patriotism, and cultural arrogance. He warns that Europe's future lies not in narrow nations, but in the creation of a new, unified culture of spirit. He mocks German nationalism and the idea of racial superiority. The true philosopher, he says, is beyond borders, a good European belonging to humanity, not a nation. Part 9. What is noble? The final section defines Nietzsche's ideal of nobility. The noble person acts from abundance, not resentment, creates his own values, lives affirmatively, saying yes to life even with its suffering. Nietzsche contrasts the noble soul with the resentful soul that seeks revenge and moral superiority through pity. True mobility is creative, powerful, and self-disciplined, beyond traditional good and evil. Afterword, or conclusion. Nietzsche ends by praising the philosophy of the future. It will be led by strong creative spirits who redefine values for a post-religious world. He calls for a revaluation of all values, a new beginning for philosophy and humanity. Main themes. 1. Critique of traditional morality. Morality is a tool of control, not truth. 2. Power and creation. Life is the expression of power and creativity. 3. Freedom and individuality. The free spirit rises above conformity. 4. Critique of religion and science. Both can suppress vitality when turned into dogmas. 5. Affirmation of life. Strength lies in embracing life, suffering included.